everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm finally bringing the second part of my vacation series to you guys. The first vlog, which was to Jaffna, was uploaded a couple of days ago, but I'll put the link up here in case y'all missed it. So from Anuradhapura, the breakfast spot was Golden Mango. They have Sri Lankan and Indian cuisine. I got a mix of both Sri Lankan as well as Indian. I personally loved the biryani here. I am very biased towards biryani and honestly it was really good here. The Sri Lankan dishes were quite nice as well, so if you visit Anuradhapura, do keep this place in mind and give it a go. And then I headed off to the hotel where I was going to stay at in Anuradhapura, which was the Heritage Hotel. Also, this time's post notification shout out goes out to Dream Tour Salon. I'm glad you're part of the community and that you're enjoying the videos. For a shout out, all you gotta do is to subscribe and comment down below. So finally we have arrived at the hotel and they had this beautiful garden over at the entrance. So once I got to the hotel, I had my welcome drink and then straight away I headed off for lunch. The previous meal that I showed you guys was breakfast, by the way, and now it was time for lunch, and lunch was at the hotel itself. So the staff member that you see in front of me was guiding me to the restaurant area, and finally I've arrived there. You don't see much of a crowd now, but I did see the crowd during the dinner as well as breakfast the next morning. So for lunch on this day, I had from the a la carte menu, I had their chicken chop suey rice. Chop suey is a Chinese dish with potatoes, carrots, leeks, beans cooked in chicken stock, served with steamed butter rice, papadum and chili paste. Usually I've not had papadum with chop suey, but this was my first time having it that way. And then after lunch, I headed off to get settled in my room. But before that, I have to show you guys this beautiful pool here. It was ginormous, but I couldn't take a dip here as I already did back at Jaffna. Let me give you guys a bit of a look around the room here. I really didn't do much on this day. Once I got to the hotel, had lunch, then I literally rested until it was time for dinner because I was after Jaffna. I was a bit tired at this point and I did want to rest. So after I rested, I got into my white clothes because the plan was to head to dinner and then go to Ruanvelisaya. Ultimately on this day, I really didn't end up going to Ruanvelisaya. I went there the next day. Anyways, with those same clothes on, I headed off for dinner. Dinner this night was by the pool. The staff had shifted the location from having dinner from the restaurant and they've shifted it to the pool area, and the ambience here was quite nice and I really did like the change. So I served myself up some corn, spaghetti, soup, and yeah, it was a lovely dinner with a nice ambience. And now you guys are joined with me on the next day. Look at those very lush greens. It is a very chirpy morning, and on this day it was a long day ahead because I did end up visiting a lot of religious and historic sites that are present in Anuradhapura. And this is the lush green that overlooks from the balcony from the floor that I was on. So first things first, I put on my white clothes again because I was going to religious places on this day, and then I headed off for breakfast. Breakfast was not by the pool, it was in the original spot, and they had quite a variety for breakfast, which I will give you guys a look on the items they had. So there you saw sambar, then we have French toast, we have pancakes, baked beans, dosa, string hoppers, milk rice, and yeah. And I ended up going for the dosa and cornflakes and fruits and sausages and buns. And it was a very wholesome breakfast. After having breakfast, I packed up my bags, and that was the end of the stay at the hotel because I was going to head over to the places around Anuradhapura and then straight away head back to CMB, so was not going to go back to the hotel again. On the way to Ruanvelisaya, there were people selling flowers, so got some flowers and then headed off to the temple. So first up I headed off to Ruanvalisaya, which is also known as the Great Stupa, and it's one of the most revered and monumental stupas in Sri Lanka, built by King Thutugamunu around 140 BC. Ruanvalisaya is a significant pilgrimage site for Buddhists, as it's believed to house the relics of the Buddha, making it one of the 16 sacred sites in Sri Lanka. Known for its massive size, the stupa is one of the world's tallest ancient monuments. Then after visiting Ruanvalisaya, the sun had come out at this point, and in order to beat the heat, I got myself an ice cream because there were quite a lot of ice cream stalls outside. So I got myself a nectar, and that was such a relief. And there were also these stalls selling mementos, so I got myself some bands to remember Anuradhapura by. And then I passed by Thuparamaya, which is one of the earliest stupas to be constructed on the island, and this dates back to the reign of King Devanampiyatissa and is said to enshrine the right collarbone of Buddha. Afterwards, I headed off to the Abhayagiri Museum in Anuradhapura, which is located near the historic Abhayagiri Stupa. And in here you can see a showcase of artifacts from the Abhayagiri monastery, and that includes excavations, sculptures, coins, inscriptions. And this museum is not only a good educational resource, but it also helps to understand the religious practices of the ancient monks, and it also plays a role in preserving the site's heritage. So yeah, and there's also a bookshop here, and if you remember one of my previous vlogs, I did show you a book that I got that has all the information about the religious and historic sites at Anuradhapura, and I did get that book from the little bookshop over here. And then afterwards I carried on with exploring Anuradhapura. And right now we are at the main alms hall in Anuradhapura. It's a significant historical site within the ancient city. So this place is where alms were provided to monks, and it served as a large dining hall during the Anuradhapura period. And you can see several stone pillars here that supported the roof. And the rice canoe that you see in front of me, it's a long stone, and that is said to have been filled daily with cooked rice to feed the Abhayagiri thousands of monks that visited. Then I headed off to the Elephant Pond, which is one of the largest ancient man-made ponds in Sri Lanka. This pond got its name Elephant Pond due to its massive size. So this tank is made of large stone blocks stacked at an angle along the walls, and there are stairs leading to the bottom, and the pond was perhaps built for the supply and storage of water. And now I'm at Sandakatapahana, also known as the Moonstone, and it's an elaborately carved semicircular stone slab, usually placed at the bottom of staircases and entrances. And this moonstone symbolizes the cycle of rebirth, and you find on the moonstone carvings of 4 animals: elephants, lions, horses and bulls, symbolizing the stages in life. And then after a bit of a water break, because it does get tiring when visiting all the sites, then afterwards I saw Jetavanaramaya, which is a stupa that was built by King Mahasen, and at one point this was the largest stupa in the ancient world, and today the stupa appears to be beaming in red brick. Afterwards I was off to see the Kudtampokana, or the Twin Ponds, which you will see in a moment. This is an ancient bathing pool complex, and it stands as an example of outstanding architectural and hydrological engineering in ancient Sri Lanka, and has a flight of steps leading to the water. And then finally the site I saw was the Yathrupokuna, which is also called the key pond, as it resembles a key, and according to the scholars the pond here has been utilized to obtain water. With that, I'm going to wrap up my mini exploration of Anuradhapura, and obviously the info that I did share with you guys were only some minute facts. So if you want more behind the scenes of this trip, feel free to follow me up on my socials. My Instagram and TikTok links are at Kavithi and they're linked in the description box below. So with that, I'm calling it a wrap on this vlog, and I headed back to Colombo, and on the way I stopped by a Pizza Hut because I was having some pizza cravings. Got myself some garlic bread, melts, wings and pizza, and wrapped up with a very wholesome meal. So with that guys, I will see you next time in my next time's video.